Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Photonics Leaders. Very pleased to have with us today Jessica DeGroote Nelson, who is the Senior Director of Optical Product Development at Edmund Optics. Welcome, Jessica. Thanks ever so much for agreeing to join us today. As is always the case, I'd like to start off a little bit about who we're speaking to and where you've come from and what you're doing, as well as obviously the company that you work for. So my first question to start off this segment around the context of Edmund Optics and the history of the company is really about you. And the first question is really, what do you think first drew you personally to a career in photonics?
So that is a good question, and one that as I advanced in my career, I was what was it that sparked me? And when I was a young child, I always enjoyed physics and engineering and math, and I enjoyed putting things together. I remember making my first flashlight with my grandfather in his tool shop. However, I did not actually know that the field of optics existed until I was at freshman orientation at the University of Rochester. And I had these ambitious dreams. I was going to major in physics and engineering. And thank goodness someone said, hey, maybe you might want to tailor that back a little bit. And have you ever thought of optics? And I said, I have no idea what that is. And they said, well, maybe you should go check it out. And so I would love to thank that person, whoever that person is. And so unfortunately, I don't even know who that person's name is at the University of Rochester. However, I remember going over to the orientation at the Institute of Optics and taking Tehran Erdogan's Introduction to Optics my freshman year and fell in love. So that's how I got started in optics.
Wow, interesting. I wish we could find that person. If they're watching, please dial in. Let us know. We'd love to reconnect you both. So thinking about, the University of Rochester, is there a linear journey that you can talk us through from there through to your current role at Edmund Optics?
Yes. So when I was at the University of Rochester, I started working between my junior and senior year for Dr. Steve Jacobs, and he specialized in optical fabrication at the Laboratory for Laser Energetics. And he invited me after my senior year to join him as part of his research group. So that's where I worked and did my PhD studying optical fabrication, magnetorheological finishing. Upon leaving and graduating, I knew that I really was drawn to industry. This is something that's a little bit faster paced than academia. I love academia, don't get me wrong, but it really wanted the faster pace. And so I went into industry. I started right out of grad school at Optimax. And I worked there for 15 years and evolved my career from starting off as a research scientist to running R&D to eventually ending as the director of technology and strategy for Optimax. And then joined Edmund about a year and a half ago. I wanted to definitely expand into a little bit more of a global company and expand my own career development as well.
Oh, interesting. And thinking, I mean, Edmund Optics is a brilliant firm. Everybody we speak to speaks highly of it. What was it in particular about Edmund Optics and this position, leading product development, that drew you to it?
Well, a couple of different things. Well, first, I will be honest. It was the recruiter that called me that first it made me realize, but I had always thought very highly of Edmund, and the particular role was one that balanced a lot of things that I enjoy. So I love technology, I love research, but at the same time, I also like making sure to match what the market needs with what the technologies that are being developed. In addition, and I would probably one of the tip that's unique about Edmund is its focus on developing diversity within the company and its future leaders. And then, of course, Mari being chairman of the board is fantastic role model for a lot of women out there to have someone in that type of leadership position.
It's surprising, isn't it, even today, how few very, very senior women leaders we have in industry generally, let alone photonics. And she's a real outlier in that regard. And I know a lot of people find what she does incredibly inspiring. So Thinking about Edmund Optics then, I mean, famously it began life in the 1940s and an awful lot has changed in the world and indeed in the company since. But I'm wondering if you feel as a relatively new person to the organization, whether there are some central philosophies and approaches that defined Edmund Optics then and still actually hold true today.
Oh, definitely. The first thing is it's our focus on customer success and making sure that our service is exemplary so that every customer receives just the utmost quality in order to be able to make their project successful, which has been true throughout the entire lifetime of the company. The other is it sounds a little cliche because it is a family owned business, but it is family oriented. But I do really feel part of the family, even being here in such a short period of time. And by family, it's a looser term, obviously not one of the actual family members, but it's more a culture of respect and respect of thought. And everyone is encouraged to come in as their own self and to be true to their own self and to really make sure that everyone's voice is heard. Those that tend to be more outspoken, but then also the quiet voices as well, because every voice is important. And that part of the culture, which has been part of Edmund for its entirety, really rings true, and I think it helps everyone to also then be successful in the mission to make sure every customer is successful.
Absolutely, and that democracy of voice you hear is very much a hallmark of all successful companies, but it's great to hear that across sort of 80 odd years that's still really holding true in an organization that's obviously grown so dramatically in that time. Thinking about that period of growth and obviously the portfolio of products, and obviously we'll talk a lot about manufacturing shortly, but the product mix has been important. What do you think have been the most significant kind of milestones in terms of changing the organization's profile or indeed its commercial success, which came off the back of that?
So the evolution has been really interesting, going from a purely marketplace buy-sell situation to evolving into manufacturing. But then there's also a lot of incorporation of engineering, design services, and assembly as well. Some of the product lines that are most notable and that exemplify this is if you look at imaging optics, so not only just making optical components, but then also creating design, builds, and assembly for the customers, as well as testing. And then most recently, laser optics, where the focus has been expanding in that application space as well. Again, components, but then also there's has been some design, assembly, and test as well. And so helping to make sure that we're staying attuned to the evolving market in terms of needs. So whether we are continuing to, which we will continue to offer a wide breadth of marketplace items from a lot of our very valued partners, to being able to expand the portfolio and meet the customized needs of some of our customers through manufacturing.
Great. Okay, thank you. I'm obviously talking here to Jessica DeGroote Nelson, who is the Senior Director of Optical Product Development at Edmund Optics, famously moving very much into manufacturing over time. The company started focused on product retailing, but how did the manufacturing side of the business develop?
So the manufacturing first started at Edmund through acquisitions. So there were several acquisitions throughout the years. And a lot of those were acquisitions due to vendors that were acquired. However, over time, the technology and the technology development portion of it has grown significantly. So versus just taking the acquired companies and leaving the technology at it as is, Edmund has definitely invested a lot, both in manufacturing technology, metrology, and assembly services as well.
Great. Okay, it's really interesting how these things sometimes happen through a boardroom strategy, and other times a bit more organically. So it sounds like an interesting blend of the two, really. Could you tell me a little bit about the principles that drive the manufacturing approach today at Edmund Optics?
Yes, and so as I mentioned, we will continue to offer the marketplace. So we do have a lot of very good vendors. However, where we see manufacturing for us playing a larger role is if for some reason that we can't find the perfect partner, but then also so that we can customize our development to meet specific market needs. In addition to that, the emphasis is a lot on metrology. And so the old adage, if you can't measure it, you can't make it, it rings true. And so a lot of our investments and a lot of our development strategies as of late have been focused on making sure that we're able to test the optics or test the systems or test the surfaces, whatever we need to test in order to make sure that we're delivering the utmost quality for our customers.
Got it. Okay, and it's fair to say that your market-leading reputation and general standing, I guess, in photonics retailing might sometimes overshadow your manufacturing offering. I guess some people might say it's a good problem to have, but I'm wondering if there's any truth in that. How do you, as an organisation, now overcome that kind of amazing legacy you've got in product retailing?
Yes, that is it's definitely an interesting, a happy problem in some ways. We have a very strong brand, and that brand we are going to continue to invest in and partner with others to be able to keep it. And so how are we adjusting or pivoting to also having the secondary brand? And so if you come and see us at Photonics West, one of the things you'll be able to see, it's a little bit different this year, is that you'll see different customer journeys. And so a lot of our manufacturing focus is focused on customers that come to us because they have specific needs that we can help through both parallel efforts with partnering with vendors in order to achieve the components they need, but if it's not possible, working out a customized manufacturing solution. And so using the customer journey, that it can be tailored however we need to have that tailored. And so, as I mentioned, Photonics West, you can come see us. There's a path to purely through our marketplace, or coming in through through a custom where we can help work with our customers for that customized solution.
Brilliant. Now, I'm very much looking forward to coming home to the stand in what is a few weeks' time. At the time we're recording this interview. So, in your eyes, what sets Edmund Optics' manufacturing offering apart from its competitors? For example, for how it's operating, or how it deals with its customers, or indeed reacts to market trends.
So one of the nice things about having that strong marketplace brand is that we don't have to manufacture absolutely everything that the customers need. If it's a lot of times, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So if there's a lot of times where there are experts in other companies and that provide a lot of value, then that's a lot of times better to work with those, but they might be so specialized that they only sell one part of the whole puzzle. And so one of the biggest advantages of working with us is that we can help supply components, design, assembly for the entire beam path. So if it's anything from an individual component to a customized optical filter, to the optomechanical design and assembly, to the final testing of the sub-assembly or the final integration, these are all things that we can help with the entire beam path. So whether we work with partners to find that customized special piece, or we work with our own internal manufacturing to help solve those problems to make sure that everyone can be successful.
It's a very powerful proposition, I guess, if you've got a kind of suite of, as you say, supporting product that can help you kind of customize faster or better, etc. I get that entirely. And obviously, Edmund Optics is a big business. I'm wondering if there are any complexities about operating at such a scale global manufacturing business, or is that scale simply opportunity? How would you view it?
So there's always some hiccups that come with working globally. As someone's always working and someone's always online. So so that's what. However, that's also that it could be a huge benefit as well. Meaning that we have factories throughout the globe. We have them in Europe, we have in Asia, and in the United States, which and even though each one of our factories has areas of expertise and specialties that they do, we also try to have enough redundancies between our factories so that we have the ability to adjust if the unexpected happens. There's always things that could happen that and we try to plan for that. But the other thing in terms of where the benefit to the customer is that we have experts throughout the globe, meaning that there's always someone available to answer some of those technical questions. So whatever time of day it might be, there's always someone available, and so you're not leaving a message and hoping to come back. So it really does help to scale, and then also in terms of getting additional points of view, which is very important to our culture as well, is that for technology, a lot of times there can be little like the areas that they are very good in particular technologies, and so having a global company, you can find those different communities, and then which it really helps to foster collaboration not only within EO but then also within our external communities as well.
Interesting. Okay. No, thank you for that. Thank you, Jessica. That was really interesting. So I'm here talking to Jessica DeGroote Nelson, who is the Senior Director of Optical Product Development at Edmund Optics. And I wanted to ask Jessica a little bit about the current climate. I wondered, Jessica, what do you see as being the greatest business development challenges that are faced by Edmund Optics today?
So my answers for this will probably be very similar to a lot of people's in this year, coming out of the whirlwind after COVID, where the industry was exploding, and then as we like to call it in 2023, a lot of the industry just took a breath. And so definitely things slowed down. And so with that comes a little bit of economic uncertainty in the industry. And so in terms of business development, who's going to be starting up faster and things and not all market segments are going to be recovering in the same vein. And then in parallel, there's also a lot of geopolitical unrest throughout the world, which causes a lot of potential uncertainties within both different market segments, but then also within different regions throughout the world. And one of the trends that that I've been seeing has been it's not every single country, but there's a push to a little bit more of a nationalism in terms of some of the buying behavior. And a lot of this is risk reduction, which is natural because of the geopolitical. And so these all are they're different factors, and they're up and down in terms of one market to the next. But it does make the developing different business plans and things like that when you have external factors more than just, hey, this is a really cool product, you should buy it. There's a lot of these external factors that are playing a pretty sizable role right now in how the industry is moving in terms of business development.
I understand. Yes, it's as you say, it's something we hear a lot. It's very uncertain times, and everybody is facing some similar kind of range of challenges. Really, the responses can vary. Obviously, that's often what makes it kind of interesting. So I was wondering about the technology side of things. So we talked a little bit about the geopolitical context and the economic context. What do you think the greatest technology development challenges are that are currently being faced by the industry? How would you define those?
So this one is from being my scientist at heart, as more of a fun problem, I would say. A challenge is that in my mind, I see if you look at the innovation cycles. So meaning from that first idea to creating a concept, making your product, and then getting it out the door, it is exponentially increasing. There's plots a lot of people have seen these where you look at like how long it took for like the telephone to be conceptualized to actually in everyone's house to now you look at like at CES that actually just happened right before our call here, and you look at all of those different technologies that have been enabled by optics and photonics, and how fast they're going from 1 year to the next. And so one of the biggest challenges that our industry faces is because optics enables a lot of those technologies and products, and so in order to keep up and be able to make sure, and then determining what is the best technology investment to do, which horse to back. Even looking at the field of quantum optics, deciding, there's a lot of early entrants, a lot of players, and you hear of it potentially, like in terms of like of the business cycles might be going into like veering into that trough of disillusionment. And so, at the moment, and so what's going to win? Something is going to win. And so which horse to back? And so, because you only have so much time, it's a little bit of a race, but it is also so much fun because it's an exciting time to be in technology development, especially in optics, because no matter which one, there's a lot of fun things to be learned.
Yeah.
Yes.
The pace of change and some of the stuff we hear about is just kind of, the pace of it is quite giddying, really. I mean, it's really kind of, exhilarating, really, as a sort of part observer in this, just to see what's kind of moving through and what's kind of gaining ground or losing a bit of ground. In terms of, another universal challenge that the industry faces is, we hear it all the time, the skill shortages, be it, engineers, technicians. I'm just wondering whether you feel that's an issue for Edmund Optics as well, and if there are any things that you feel organizations or governments should be doing to kind of drive, a solution to this, because it seems relatively omnipresent.
Oh, definitely. So this is the skilled worker shortage is global. This is definitely something that is a challenge, and it's a challenge on several different fronts, because especially for skilled technicians, is that you need them to be working in the place where your facility is, which it poses, so it's a lot of times tends to be more of a regional focused solution, because many times it depends on how much someone wants to move from one place to the next. Like myself, I work remote, so I have the ability to work in different locations. Whereas those that are hands-on every single day really need to be close to the different facilities, and so there's multiple different portions to this, factors to this. One is first getting people, students, the next generation, or even recareering, excited about these fields and knowing that there's a career there, especially in manufacturing. This is sometimes a challenge because for years it was the word, especially in the U.S., didn't necessarily have a great connotation to it for generations, and so trying to change that thought process. So one, getting the word out, showing that, hey, these are really cool jobs, these are really cool careers, and you can have a career and be very successful and make a good living. The next thing is also then getting those ecosystems set up. So where there's jobs, and so having both industry being involved, but then also community colleges, even high schools, and so a lot of those programs, and then universities to some extent too, if in terms of training some of the applied engineers. So getting these ecosystems together, there have been a lot of great efforts being done, both in the U.S. and I know in Europe as well. So I know Europe has something called Specteris in Germany that they've been working on, and then in the United States, AmeriCom. And AmeriCom is something I personally have been I sit on the board of directors for AmeriCom, so Edmund is very supportive of this endeavor, is we know how critical it is to make sure that we're continuing to invest in these ecosystems. And so I encourage those in industry that are struggling with the skilled labor shortage to not only support their local ecosystem, get involved with clusters and regional engines, but then also support the local community college or skilled trade schools or with helping to teach because they need good educators as well. And so it is very difficult to not only to attract, but then also retain those educators. And so we should all give those that are out there working very hard. And I know what's happening globally, a lot of support. And so that's one thing, both industries and then governments can also help to support this endeavor as well.
It's a very complex ecosystem, right? And, as you say, I mean, one thing leads to another and everything kind of needs to be relatively well balanced and supported, as you say. No, I mean, they're great initiatives. And certainly in Europe, Spectaris particularly has been something that's had some real impact. And we're very much behind, supporting that where we can. Talking, and you mentioned it about the geography of kind of the skills shortage and so how obviously sometimes the regionality of centres is critical. I'm conscious last year you announced the expansion of your Florida capacity with the Laser Optics Center. I'm just wondering how that was going.
Oh, it's going very well. So we had our grand opening last year, and so a beautiful facility. So hopefully, and come talk to us about it in Photonics West. But then hopefully at some point in time, visiting us in Florida as well.
You're on.
And yes, and so with this, the expansion and building from the ground up for this really allowed us to build the facility and infrastructure, especially for laser optics, which requires a different type of environment for the thin film coating, making sure things were clean and in that clean room and humidity and temperature controlled. And so with for a lot of the existing equipment we have, and then adding to future capabilities with a lot of ion beam sputtering capabilities as well. So really building up our portfolio, and it is focused obviously at laser optics, but in that facility, but really focusing on thin film coating.
Interesting. Okay, I'm pleased to hear it's going well. And we are, as we're recording today, about 10 days away from Photonics West. I have to ask, you talked a little bit about manufacturing and the story for customers that they're going to experience there. I just wondered, what applications and technologies you'll be pushing at the event this year.
So as you walk into our booth, that you'll see different. You'll be able to take different journeys, and so we'll still have our strong marketplace presence, where you get to see a lot of the new products that we have introduced, and a lot of these will be showcased in our booth. With include everything from our third-party vendors, and so we'll be highlighting plus our own manufactured and everything from our lenses, our filters, our laser optics, the entire suite. However, that one of the new things you'll see this year is another journey you can take is walking through what it would be like to come to us for custom opportunities. And so coming through, talking to designers, talking to application engineers, and to be able to customize a solution. We'll be able to talk about material selection, fabrication processes, and metrology options that we offer. And then we'll have a lot of thin film coating experts on hand in order to be able to really discuss what are some of the challenges. I mean, so thin film coatings is very broad. I mean, it comes from almost every optic that's used has some type of functional coating, and so our expertise rely in a lot of the standard coatings, but then also for hard coated filters, and then laser optics as well. So there's the full suite will be there, and then of course our assembly and testing as well. And so we will plan to have a lot of experts, and there will also be a few short educational presentations that will be given throughout the booth. So please stay tuned to some of our social media. And I will be giving one on I will be answering the the top 10 questions we get asked about designing with A-spheres and how to tolerance and specify these for use. And so I'll be going through the top 10. So I'll be shamelessly stealing from Letterman and doing that. So so please stop by. I think that'll be on Tuesday.
Excellent. I look forward to that. Yeah, I mean, tips and tricks, that's kind of what people want, right? How to do it, what to avoid, etc., etc. Great stuff.
Exactly.
Now, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much. So we've heard a lot about the past and the present for Edmund Optics. I wanted to ask Jessica DeGroote Nelson, who is the Senior Director of Optical Product Development at Edmund Optics, a little bit about the future and the years ahead. I mean, as a leading photonics organization, you focus a lot, I know, on educational outreach. I was just wondering if you could explain a little about how the company does that and why it's so important.
So probably most important is our desire to give back to the community is very important, because obviously this is a community that has given so much to us. But in addition to that, in order to be able to continue to have both, our own, future employees hopefully evolve, but then future customers. But in order for the industry to grow, we need to continue to get new people involved and excited, because in order to really be able to push us to that next level, and I'm talking industry wide, it's going to take the proverbial village in order to make this happen. And so this is a big reason you'll see a lot of educational outreach from globally from all. We encourage all employees to do so. But then also we put a lot on our websites. We collaborate very frequently with a lot of organizations. In fact, right now our own a social media star, Corey Boone, is actually, he's also for SPIE, he is the educational and outreach chair for SPIE, so helping to not only with us internally, but also helping the entire community. And these are a lot of things it's really important to get involved. And it's also what I have found since working at Edmund for the last year and a half, people are very happy, and happy people tend to want to share that with others. And so it's one of the big reasons I think we see a lot of people excited about their careers. And so they're excited to try and say, let's spread the wealth around. So.
No, very powerful. No, I completely agree. You can, when you speak to people about their experiences in the industry or the organizations they work through, that passion and that enjoyment actually often is the thing that resonates most sort of loudly with you when you're doing these sorts of interviews. So look, we are a media outlet. We love an exclusive. I was just wondering if there was anything you could share as a bit of a little tease for everybody about what the next critical products or technology advancements that Edmund Optics is focused on in, say, the next 24 months or beyond. Just any little steers on that, please.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a small preview. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about metrology from us. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but one of the big things that will be coming out in 2024 is that we've been working with an industry partner in order to build a custom spectrophotometer specifically for our hard-coded filter technologies to allow us to be able to test higher optical density or OD filters in OD6, OD8, so really the higher performance. And so things like that. And in addition, you'll also be hearing some more from us about increasing, but we're raising the bar in our metrology for a lot of things in A-spheres, and we'll continue to invest and grow our laser damage testing facility we have in-house. And so we're able to do a lot of our own customized testing in order to make sure that, as we say, you can't make if you can't measure it. And so making sure that you're hearing a lot more from us. So.
Excellent. Oh, that's really good to hear. I mean, it's interesting. You must promise to keep us up to date with what's happening there. And as it's starting to roll some of these things out with a bit more visibility, that would be fantastic. So you've been a brilliant subject for us to talk to as part of our Photonics Leadership series. Jessica, I wondered if there are finally any particular professional goals that you have at Edmund Optics that you'd like to share or are able to share at this point.
So I have to say that I mentioned earlier about the rapid pace of the innovation cycle, and so one of the things that I personally feel very passionate about is that in order to make those next innovation cycles happen, it takes collisions of different people, different ideas, different thoughts. And so where I see a big emphasis, not only for myself, but also EO, is continued partnerships, collaborations, and because one person's not going to get stuff done. And so it really takes the entire community. And where I really see is enhanced collaborations, communication, and of course, those partnerships in order to make those innovation cycles happen that much faster. And so, looking forward to meeting everyone in person at Photonics West, but then in other instances afterwards, staying in touch, because one of the things that I am looking most forward to for the future are those collisions, because you never know when those great ideas are going to happen.
Okay, fabulous. Well, look, I really appreciate your time today. It's been brilliant talking to you. Jessica DeGroote Nelson, Senior Director of Optical Product Development at Edmund Optics, has been part of the Electro-Optics Photonics Leaders series. Thank you for your time, Jessica. I very much look forward to meeting you properly in San Francisco in a few days' time. And everybody else, please get in touch with us, get in touch with Jessica if there are any further questions you wanted to ask. And thanks again to Jessica for her time today. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.